understanding what I said to him. I often making the kids to explain the situation to me. Like if you say something or you taught something to Jaehyun and he doesn't seem to understand, then I ask him to explain what I said.
Yeah.
Then maybe he will make imperfect sentences. Then I correct the sentence too.
Right. Yeah, it's a good idea. I do that usually for some activities like homework and you know, really important things that need to have clear comprehension. I think today's class was good because it was much more kind of conversational style. I think a few of the classes I'm trying, presentation is not, it's not an easy thing. It's because you have to, obviously you need the good grammar, you need the good natural tone, you need fluency. So you need all of the elements of speaking, but you also need, you know, it's also teaching about body, how you control your body, you know, your posture, eye contact, your tone. So there are, presentation is like, it's a lot more advanced than just speaking, just a conversation class. So I think in hindsight, it might have been better to have had more of a, maybe more speaking or conversation based class. It's still okay, I think, but I think it might be better if you agree to have it, to try and focus on more conversation activities in addition to the final presentation.
Yeah, sure.
So kind of less perhaps presentation specific practice and more speaking activity practice.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, we'll still do the final class, still do the final presentation, but just maybe less practice time for it.
Yeah. One of my objectives for this class was make the kids familiar with the class, with the foreign teachers. So if you focus on conversation skills rather than presentation skills, I think anyway, both way has a foreign teachers class, so they will get used to what the native Englishman speaks way, the way of native speakers. So I think either way can benefit for the class, for the students.
Do you want me to do, you said writing as well, so do you want like a 50-50 split? We could do like 30-minute speaking activities, 30-minute writing activities. Would that be about right? Or maybe 45, 50?
I want the kids to speak more. So I guess put 80% on conversation skill or just speaking skills, and 20% on presentation skills, like tone or eye contact or just gestures.
Okay. So the writing would just be a kind of byproduct of them planning the speaking or the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just encouraging them to speak more.
Yeah.
And in a perfect sentence. So when I was in the States, and I learned English in the States, my tutor forced me to make a perfect sentence first. No, at first they encouraged me to speak in English because at the time I literally speak just alphabet, or like thank you, hello, I'm hungry, sorry, no. That's all. That's all I can say. So the first thing the tutor asked me to do was uh, just speaking in English. Like, teacher, water, I want. Like, no grammar. It's okay. Just encouraging me to speak in English. That's okay. And then the next step was making me to make a perfect sentence. At that time, it seems so uh, it doesn't make sense because we actually not always making a perfect sentence in a conversation situation. So at that time, I thought that it was nonsense. But today, I look back the times when I learned English. I think the tutor prevent me from being teased, like making funny sentences, so that the other kids make fun of me. So I want our kids to make a perfect sentence, not because of being teased, but because of getting a higher grade in their school test. Because in the school test, they focused on just making a perfect sentence. So you will get that when I give you my own grammar book, because there is some sentences that seems nonsense, but also right in grammatically. And those sentences are in their textbook. So I want the kids to make their own perfect sentences. Then they can get higher level in a conversation and their test too.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds like something I can put into practice in the remaining 4 classes. I guess the only thing that comes up then is, in terms of making perfect sentences, the problem comes up of there are many different types of grammatical mistakes, right? There are many different, not just grammar, but also pronunciation or, tone or whatever, but specifically on grammar. So the question is, do you design a class around a particular grammar point? Like, do I teach the present perfect, and teach them, past participle or the third form of the verb and the simple past, or do I focus on the mistake that they make and then teach from the mistake? And there are many mistakes as well. So you have a choice of choosing which mistakes to select. So there's just the kind of logistics of how to structure the class perfectly. If the goal is to make perfect sentences, you either teach the grammar, right? And then you practice, have you ever eaten tteokbokki? Yes, I have. When did you eat tteokbokki? I ate tteokbokki last week. So using the present perfect and the simple past, talking about specific details. So this is a grammar class now. This might eliminate future grammatical mistakes, or you do, for example, you do a speaking activity where we are speaking, and then I said, Jaehyun, what did you do yesterday? Oh, yesterday I eat tteokbokki and I see my friends. So now we are teaching, we're teaching the simple past instead of the present perfect. So do you have is there a preference for how you think the class should be structured in that regard?
The latter one. So during the speaking class, I want you to correct the kids' sentences when the sentences is wrong.
Okay.
So the planning or the designing class in focusing on grammar is too vast. the area of grammar is too vast, and
Right.
they sometimes has very various problem making perfect sentences in grammatically. So focusing on grammar would be very difficult.
That's your job.
Yeah, but uh, just correcting the sentence
Mm.
during the speaking class would be much easier
Mm.
than
Yeah.
doing a grammar job.
Okay, that sounds good. So maybe
Yeah.
I'll, for the last few classes, I'll plan some light speaking activities, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can analyze the mistakes and maybe get the students to make a perfect sentence after they've made the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good to me. And
And
then
I had a class, so I didn't get your class today. So did you give any homework to the kids?
no, I didn't give any homework.
Then why don't you give them some subject you will teach next week, and then make the kids write some 8 to 10 sentences about the subject.
That's a good idea. I did tell them so I think we have done prize possession for 3 weeks. So I was thinking maybe I was planning initially to do 6 weeks on prize possession, but I think it's probably too much on the same topic. So I think I'm going to do a movie topic. So their favorite, their favorite movies, and they can describe the, the plot, the characters, the genres as well. So maybe I could message them and tell them, ask them to, what is there anything in particular do you think would be good for that? Maybe just to talk about their favorite movie for like 100 words on their favorite movie. That'd be good.
Yes, just why don't you give them some? Oh, also you already gave them subject, their favorite movie, and why don't you give them some examples, like highly used expressions, like they will. I like blah blah blah, but why don't you suggest them the other word instead of like?
This could be the idioms as well, like, I'm obsessed with, for example.
Yes.
Or I'm really into something.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Then they can make a sentence into 3 ways. They can express their own one opinion into 3 ways. Like, I like Disney movies. I'm into Disney movies. I'm in favor in Disney movies.
Yeah.
Disney movies is my favorite movie.
Yeah. I'm really into, I'm really not into, I'm not a fan of, or I am a fan of.
Yes, great.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. And then Giju's been missing for 2 classes. I'm not sure.
Yes, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is his test.
Okay.
English test day.
Okay.
And I think this week would be his test season, maybe.
Test season.
And maybe, yeah.
Sounds like a professional footballer. He's in season.
Yeah. The test goes on maybe 3 to 4 days.
Oh my God. Poor Korean students. I don't envy them. For preparing for Suneung already. Suneung, yeah, in Korea, Suneung preparation begins at the age of 2 years old, I believe. Training the baby to pass the test.
Yeah.
Is it the same for Jaehyun as well? Because he wasn't there today.
Yeah, Jan had a class with me.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's it. Just so we oh, the other thing was the dates as well. Did you want to stick as it was, or is changing okay? What do you think?
So the original plan was having a class on 23rd and
It's the 6th and the 13th.
6th and 13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we if it's okay, or we can do the 30th and the 6th and then no 13th.
How about your schedule? Having a class on 30 and having a class on 13. Which way is better?
I would have a slight preference for just having it on the 30th and then not on the 13th, just for the consistency. The reason originally I planned a gap was because the program that I'm doing, they are having a 2-week break for Christmas, Christmas period. But there's actually no reason why our class needs to have a break, because the videos are recorded and I can see all the assignments anyway, so I know what to do. So it's just at the time I thought that I should plan a gap for this class as well, but actually it's not necessary. So if it's bothersome for you guys, then we can keep it as it is. Honestly, it doesn't matter that much, but if it's not bothersome for you, then I'd suggest changing it to the 30th just so we have it every week.
So I'm not sure, but some of the kids may have their family vacation on the last week of December.
Okay.
So some kids may not get into your class.
We can just keep it as it is then. Keep it as it is. That's fine.
So I and Helena start just sticking to the original plan.
Okay, no
Would be
problem.
better.
That's fine. Sounds good.
Okay, and yeah, sticking to the original plan.
Perfecto.
And how about what I said, the test season? Like it sounded like a very sports season to you, right? And how about testing period, or what other word can I use?
So what is the testing? What is that? It's like 4 days intense studying.
Yeah,
Test
4
taking.
days for test taking.
Yeah, I would say maybe like testing period, maybe.
Testing period.
Or like
How about in Britain?
exam period. Sorry, exam period.
Exam period.
Yeah, exam period. Yeah. When I think season, it's more usually, obviously it's associated with weather, but it's also associated with sports. So like you have an on season and an off season. You have like a competitive season, and then you have the kind of the off season. So I was thinking, so if you said it as a kind of joke, then it's kind of funny, because you know, obviously school is not a season as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe exam period is probably more specific to education.
Okay, great. So exam period.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So like this, if the kids make the funny sentences or imperfect sentences, you can just correct them. Hey, Jaehyun, exam period would be better than test season. then encourage them to make the sentence again in a corrected version.
Right.
So I studied very hard for the exam period like this.
Yeah. And giving examples of season as well, like the context that you can use season, like
Yes,
the
great.
weather and sports.
Yes, very good.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that, yeah, the only challenge is kind of how do you structure the speaking aspect? Because you could just do like a free conversation, right? Like we are having now. And then in that context, you stop the conversation and then you do a teaching and then you go back. But then there's a kind of you're kind of spotlighting the fact that the speaking is not just for speaking, but it's also to correct mistakes, and that makes students less likely to freely express themselves. So I don't know, I think the solution is maybe having a somewhat of an activity, not just free talking. I think there should be some structure in order to highlight certain mistakes. I don't know, what do you think?
So I mean, giving them some structures?
Yeah, like, so you could have I guess you could, for example, and you have an activity where you talk about your favorite movie. So there's a, that maybe, like you said with the homework, you give them some kind of scaffolding where you talk, you encourage them to use certain sentences. So there's some kind of framework for the activity, opposed to like a free talking conversation where it's literally like, how are you? What did you do today? Or just ask what's your favorite movie without any guidance.
Offering guidance would help the kids make their own sentences.
Yeah, so it's probably best. I think it's good at the beginning of class to have like a short, 5-minute talking. I like that kind of beginning to the class. How are you? How have you been? And maybe that's a small window for correction as well.
Yes.
But then when after that's finished, maybe that's when you provide a bit more framework and scaffolds for the corrections.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Cool. So I'll get on to the students about their homework. I'll upload the video as well after this.